Hello, my name is Danielle. I was diagnosed with bipolar 1 at 17 years old, just before I finished high school. For the most of the part, I still have this disability, even after 12 years. I've grown to accept it, but what makes my life more enjoyable is being on medication that has helped me cope with life and live as a fully functioning citizen and a knowledgeable one at that. My memory skills aren't great, so I had to write everything down. My faith and belief in God has allowed me to get the help I needed and be able to get the right help at the right time at the right stage of my life. I'm not here to advocate for God by any means, because he does that all on his own. But what I am here to do is advocate for those who need to know that they're not the only dog in the fight. And that goes out to anybody that has any mental, emotional, physical disability. Abandonment is a definite disability when it comes to having attachment to somebody or something because of what that somebody or something meant to you. Without that somebody or something, it's kind of hard to really grow, even without the security of anything of that nature. But once we realize that the love that person gave to us, that the love that person giving us something that we thought was of value, not having it, it's hard, but it's still livable, and everybody moves on from having heartache unless they are not sure of themselves and second guess themselves. So that's never good, but that's what I want to do. Is I like to pray for people. I pray general prayers for the world. I pray for people my sisters know. I pray for people my mom knows and that I know and that my people know, because I want to send like a shockwave of love and outbreak, like an outbreak of love kind of thing. That's kind of who I am. So back to my script. So there are battles everyone has to fight, and my battles are no greater or no lesser than anyone, than like the next person in line or anyone else that's fighting. We all are affected by our battles. We're affected in similar and different ways. Everything affects us, but things like things that affected us when we were 5 or when we were 10, it was different as we all matured and had that appreciation for maturity and growth. So everybody is affected differently in their life, and the one thing that hardly anybody really understands is that we choose how we react to any situation. I've seen myself want to do something destructive, but only in my head, because now I have a somewhat paved idea of how I want to be in my life and how I want things to affect me and how I want to affect other people. So sometimes not letting it affect you is just not saying or doing anything, and just letting it take its course until you can get your grips of what you need to do. Anyone who exceeds expectations of others because they didn't want anyone to label them is who I fight for. Anybody who is free to be themselves, anyone who feels free to be themselves, regardless of what anybody thinks or understands about this person, if they be themselves and still measure up to their own potential instead of what other people want. If we go past what our boundaries are of what the ideal vision about us, how other people view us and how we know they view us, if we go past that and just kind of, cut the blue wire instead of the red wire or whatever it is, and we dismantle the bomb before it is a bomb and realize how to make the wires different in our own problems. We can understand where we need to go and how and what we need to do to get there. We can map out our timeline of, let's say, a whole year. Say you take a whole year, say like depression. Maybe that was a really hard time for you in December and January because maybe a relative of yours isn't here anymore. You can map that out and you can do what my counselor did is bipolar mapping, and you can do like last year and this year, the next year after that. You can say okay, the line in the middle is the norm, and then the line above that is like the section of mania, and the line above that is like way out of control. So like the line below normal would be depression and so depressed you would not want to get out of bed for like weeks. I definitely know how that feels. Then you map that out and you can figure what part of the year you need the most help from yourself and others maybe, and what part of the year everything is okay. Coping skills really help a lot. If you're a gardener, I have 2 cuttings from different trees that I want to root for my mom. So I took like a knife and I carved out the end of the tree where I stick it in the ground. I wrap it with paper towels, wet paper towels, and then I take a garbage bag and wrap it around the stem of the tree and tie it with ties, like yarn or whatever. So that's kind of what I do. I'm trying to do that for my mom for her birthday. Anyway, success didn't ever come overnight. Now look at me. I've spent 13 years of my life dealing with mental illness and emotional agony. Whatever you're facing, there's at least one person in your corner, if not yourself. The truth is, if you can definitely understand like where you can draw the line for friends and where you can draw the line for acquaintances when it comes to who you spend the most time with, how much you've grown over the years, whether or not you sent them calls or messages after you moved away, and you would do anything for this best friend, so if there was like a concert on a weekend and you forgot that your friend was going to be there on a weekend, you just, you can sell the concert tickets to somebody or may as well just invite your friend, because it's like those blood buddies are always good to have, and nothing has to be carved out in blood, just that it's like you're on the same wavelength, you know what I mean? So it's like you feel their energy and if when they're around you, what they're feeling and how they are. And if they're trying to lie to you to trying to deflect from the conversation. Whoever you are, stay strong, because pain doesn't last long, especially when you cut it out and burn it by talking to somebody who can help. And I really seriously do not mean like actually cutting yourself or burning yourself, because that would be wrong. Just like if you have a general idea about who you are or who people think you are, who you think you are, and it doesn't, and you're growing out of it and it doesn't fit, just take it like an old t-shirt and just like get rid of it or cut it up in strips of cloth and just make a different purpose out of it. You can make a different purpose out of your ideas for yourself, or how other people think you are, or your perception of what their view is. And if it's a good view, all right, take a picture of it. If it's not, just get rid of it. I am 30 years old, almost 31. I'm not a little girl anymore. But honestly, my dad still thinks I'm a little girl. I was his only kid. But he's trying to understand how to be different with me now, and we're working on it. So, if you're looking for more information, look up Empoweress. EMPOWROW. Wait, EMPOWERESS. This Empoweress, she really knows how to get in deep with the emotional, and she's a really good therapist. I think that's what she is like a DBT therapist. She gives loads of good information about the mental emotional mind, and her insight is very good. And I wish I had her mind sometimes. At least I would understand how to deal with my situation. I hope you all have a very beautiful day, and thanks. I enjoyed the time I spent with you guys, so see ya. Have a good one.